Here now with us, Omarosa Senior Advisor for African American Outreach for the Trump campaign. Good to see you.
Good to see you always, Martha.
I am looking forward to getting your take on all of this. What do you think about the tape that was released over the weekend, and what do you think about Donald Trump's conviction to keep going?
Well, I think Donald Trump has apologized for the tape, and more importantly, his wife. I mean, he had to apologize to his wife, his family. She accepted his apology. So do I. We're going to move on.
When you look at the Paul Ryan part of this equation and what's happening within the party right now, how does that strike you?
You know, I think that when you look at this Paul Ryan situation, he really wasn't strongly behind Donald in the beginning. He kind of came around to an endorsement, and it doesn't really change anything for us. This has always been a grassroots movement driven by the people. And so, you know, Paul Ryan made his decision. We're going to keep this Trump train going with or without him.
You know, when you think about the pledge that they were asked to sign, right, to say, look, I'm going to stay with the party. I'm not going to go as an independent candidate.
Right.
And in some ways now it almost appears that maybe there should have been a reverse pledge, you know, that you know, from Donald Trump, if I'm your candidate and you nominate me after the primary process, perhaps, you know, he needed a pledge to say that they were going to stick with him. It's interesting. You know, do you think that this tape that was revealed over the weekend, as you know, as really unflattering is, you know, a very easy word to call it, as it was, did it reveal a different Donald Trump? Has he misrepresented himself? Is this a guy that, you know, did it shock you to see him say those words?
Martha, I worked in the Clinton White House for 3.5 years. I was there during the impeachment. We learned about what Bill Clinton did with interns in the Oval Office. Now, that's shocking. You know, hearing guys talk, this locker room talk, it doesn't shock me. I was an athlete in college. I've heard things like that. But here's the most important thing. Who's going to change America? Who's going to help Americans who are fighting to fill their gas tanks or even fill prescriptions? Who is going to change the direction of this nation? That's what's more important to me. We see in these WikiLeaks email release that, you know, even her campaign, our opponent's campaign, knows that she doesn't tell the truth. So we have this two-faced Tara who's trying to take over the Oval Office. We won't let her anywhere near the Oval Office, because if her campaign doesn't trust her, then why should the American people trust her?
But it seems like they've done a better job in some ways of making it about these issues. So how do you wrestle it back? Donald Trump, his strongest moments in the polls has been when he's been able to get the focus off of himself and make it about the things that you're talking about. So as a campaign, how do you do that at this really critical juncture with 4 weeks to go?
Well, we should never underestimate the American people. They are very intuitive, and they know that the Clintons are all about themselves, and Donald Trump is about fighting for the American people. And so we have to trust that the same folks who allowed Donald Trump to defeat 16 primary candidates will allow him to be victorious on November the 8th.
What about Melania Trump and Ivanka Trump? You know, would you like to see them out there more on the campaign trail, speaking out more? Would this be a time in this campaign when that would really be beneficial?
Well, they are out there. I mean, I'm on a women's tour right now with Ivanka. We were heading to Florida. Unfortunately, the hurricane hit, and so we had to reschedule. But I see Ivanka, who's out there. I just saw Melania at the debate, supporting her husband, supporting her family. This is a very close-knit family.
Will she be making campaign stops over the course of the next few weeks, Melania?
Well, certainly you'll see Melania all over the place supporting her husband. You'll see this entire Trump family. I think what's remarkable...
Well, we really didn't see much of her between the convention and the debate. So that's why I asked.
In addition to her husband running for president, out of fairness, she is parenting. She has a child, and
I'm just asking, is that the decision that she has made, you know, to sort of keep it a little bit closer to the vest, which I think a lot of people can respect and admire if that's the decision that she's made. But you know, do you think at this juncture it would be
to be a full-time mom, and I know how very close she is to Barron, and I know this is a critical time for while her husband is out on the road, she's parenting, and if she decides to do more campaign stops, I think it would be great.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, this is a family who has been everywhere. The sons are everywhere, Ivanka's everywhere. This is a very good vision for America, unlike what's happening on the other side, where, you know, you can't trust what's coming out of this woman's mouth, and you don't know what her husband's going to say. He's criticizing Obamacare while she's supporting it. I mean, you have to look at both families, and you see that there's something going on the other side that America's not comfortable with.
It's very interesting that you talk about being in the White House during that whole period.
Oh, yeah.
And it does seem that, you know, there's a vulgarity that we all perhaps got used to in those years.
But they're so hypocritical. It's just ironic to me how hypocritical they they are, that they would condone what he's done, not only with Monica Lewinsky, but these other women who have come forward and said, that not only has Bill Clinton raped me, he's taken advantage of me, he was predatory, and then they try to turn the focus on Donald Trump. It's hypocritical at best.
Omarosa, thank you very much. Good to see you out on
Always
the campaign
Martha.
trail, and we'll see where we go from here with 4 weeks to go.